So Mr. Howell, you know, again, for all three, this one actually is unanswered question. The Yonkers public school system routinely suffers from severe budget gaps, overdue capital improvements, and seems to have a general reputation of not being a good school district compared to Northern Western, where people want to move specifically for their school. How would you, as a city council member, work to significantly improve our school district so families want to move to stay in Yonkers?
Thank you. Goes to my first concern, which I stated was education. Number one, let me separate it into two parts if I may. The capital budget for the school system is the responsibility of the city council. The mayor proposed a capital budget along with his operating budget in April of this year. The city council passed the operating budget in June. They are still sitting on the capital budget of $90 million. And that $90 million includes $50 million of improvements for our schools, our deteriorating school buildings. So it is the city council's responsibility to manage that process and manage it well, and not to make it a political process. So as a city council person sitting in consideration of those kinds of issues, I would want to move them forward much more quickly. As far as the general operating of our schools, we have increased the funding for our schools over $125 million just in the last 2 years alone. Mayor Anaconi was very successful in getting additional $75 million in recurring revenue from Albany, and that kind of thing has to continue. We have to stop taking a backseat to some of the larger cities in the state of New York, like Buffalo, Rochester, and Syracuse. We've been banging on Albany's door for many, many years. We're finally being heard. They finally stepped up to the plate, but they need to do it in a continued and bigger way. And I would be a proponent of lobbying our state legislators for additional revenues for our school system on behalf of our children, because I think we need to continue. Our school system has improved in the last 4 years. The test scores have improved. Our graduation rates are improving, but that has to happen more quickly. And I think with the right infusion of dollars into our school system as well.
Mr. Brown?
Well, this administration, I can tell you, has failed the schools, and I'll tell you why. They played with the budget, first of all, and the administration and YFT, which I'm proud to say I have their endorsement. They were short $6 million. This administration would not give them the money. The city council put back $3 million and then had to pass a contingency budget for the following months. And as far as capital improvement, make no mistake, there is still $62 million in the capital plan that has not been spent. This administration is asking for $90 million more and is not taking advantage of all the projects and everything that $62 million is earmarked for. So that should be, for our public schools, should be a no-brainer, because the city receives back 47% of that money. So that money is sitting there, $62 million, and they're asking for $90 million more. So education is there. We're playing with our children. We're playing with the lives of our future. So on the city council, I will make sure that money that's earmarked will be spent. It will improve our education system. It will improve the image of our school system. It will keep our property values high, and people will not move out of this city. Our children will stay here and raise their children here, and that's how we'll keep them here and make our schools and properties strong. Thank you.
I firmly support an elected school board. I think a lot of the problems that we have in our system today is because we have a hand-picked board that's responsible to one person only and not the taxpayers. The board should be reflective of the members of the community and report to them towards how they spend the money. I don't even know if we fully see the board of education budget before we vote on it. I will say that. I'm learning as I go along, but I don't think that we have full access to the board's budget. I do think an elected board is the way that 70 or 80% of the country has their system. The main drawback is poor voter turnout, and that's usually in districts that don't have their elections coincide with other elections. But to me, poor voter turnout is better than one person making this election. And I agree with Mr. Howard, we're still being shortchanged by the state with respect to the capital end of the budget. They base their deficiencies on the wealth of our community, but our the rationale is just not justified, and we have to lobby forcefully to get more money in this state. I also support neighborhood schools equally funded, no matter where the schools are. Every child should have the right to go to a neighborhood school, equally funded. We have parochial schools that are closing. If we need schools in the Southwest, perhaps they could be utilized by the city without having schools constructed across the board. There's a lot of ways we can use the closing of the other schools creatively to bring more schools into the Southwest. I was a single mom. I know how hard it was for me to wait with my son for the bus, knowing I had to rush to work. I said, these little ones spend so many of their precious hours of being on the bus, and they should be either sleeping or playing or spending more time with their parents, but I think a combination of these things would save money in the long run.
Okay, next question, Mr. Borelli, and then Mr. Borelli. What is your position on giving domestic partner benefits to Yonkers City staff? And also, second, what's your position on passing a non-discrimination law for lesbian and gay citizens of Yonkers?
Well, I support that everybody needs to have this type of benefit, domestic, on staff and for the staff. So I definitely support that. And legislation, as far as has been proposed anyway, and as much as I know about it, I feel that people's lives are their own, and I can't be a judge of that. And as it comes across my table, and I look at it, and I have to judge it as
We have an effective taxpayer across the board.
Is that your answer for both parts of the question?
What's your second?
Yeah, well, the first part was about
Yes.
benefits, but the second part was about non-discrimination law, and anti-discrimination law for lesbian and gay.
Speaking about the financial end of it, yeah, right.
But there were two aspects.
I too would want to study the issue. I'm certainly not in a position to be able to argue against domestic partnerships. I do argue against them from a religious standpoint. I am a practicing Catholic. I don't believe in domestic marriage. However, I could certainly consider supporting domestic relationships. On the non-discrimination side of the issue, I think I would have to ask our Human Rights Commission to take a look at the issue, study the issue, and advise me on what benefits it brings to those individuals while not detracting from the average citizen in the city of Yonkers.
Thank you very much. Some of our human rights commissioners are here. We can
Exactly.
open up the floor.
We'd be happy to look at it.
But let me do a couple quickies here because these index cards keep coming my way. There are actually some repeated questions on these index cards which weren't otherwise covered by us. So sure, I'm just going to say some of these are really yes and no questions. You know, we can do without 3 minutes. I'll read you the cards. It says, do all of these candidates reside in their district? There's a rumor that one does not, and another says, what district do you presently live in?
I've lived in a third district for about 30 years now.
That's not an answer to the question.
Sorry. Who this question was?
Well, I've lived in
for one text.
well, I've lived in Riverdale for 25 years, and I've lived in Yonkers now for 32. Presently.
Oh, I said district, did I not say third district?
Well, you did not say presently, you said you
Oh, I
lived
do,
in.
I do, I have lived there.
That could have been the past. That's one of the purposes of my question.
I thought that was inherent in my answer. I have.
Let's see here.
Yes, no, I did, I'm moving here.
I haven't moved out of the third district for 30, I wanted to say, I didn't want to say 40, but it's really 40, but I'm saying 30-something years I've lived in the third district. And I reside in my house, I don't have a double residence anywhere, I am in third district.
Okay, I didn't know this was an issue, but since I got two cards. Next.
Mrs. Howard.
I